Freaky Guy Sports.
Full episode for January 23rd, 2026.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. It's your host, Brent Bilski, a.k.a. Double B, or the 110 Soldier. So many things to talk about today, including football and the Indiana Hoosiers. Shout out to Fernando Mendoza and Indiana, who had the perfect season, national title. I think Mendoza is the clear number one pick. However, we have to discuss one narrative today, this idea that the Hoosiers were this underdog, rags to riches, plucky, Rudy story. Cut it out. Absolutely cut it out. They spent money just like everybody else, being backed by Mark Cuban of all people. I'll talk about it here in just a little bit. And more important news to me, and man, this screwed up my whole world, my ozone, the show topics today. Down goes Jimmy Butler. Season-ending ACL. This one, as a Warriors fan, broke my heart and has all sorts of tentacles going out the other way with trade implications. So the questions now, what can they realistically do? What would be the smart move? Does it completely screw up Steph's last chances at a title shot? I'll give you best options, worst options, and moves they can't talk themselves into, but god dang it, losing Jimmy Butler was an absolute heartbreaker. And on the other side of the NBA trade deadline, as things are starting to pan out with just 2 weeks to go, I am still locked in on Giannis Antetokounmpo being moved from the Milwaukee Bucks. I'm going to bring that back because Milwaukee now 18-24, just got booted home for Christ's sake. No picks. They need to restock and reset. And I still say the one place they got to put the Greek Freak is with the alien in San Antonio because it would screw up everybody. It would be such a great move. It should happen. I'll talk more about it later.
Enough with the foreplay.
Let's get this show on the road.
But let's start off with the big thing this Sunday. We got more playoffs in the NFL. Playoffs, baby.
Playoffs? We'll talk about playoffs.
Doing it.
You kidding me? Playoffs?
We're talking about playoffs. Now we're down to the conference championship. Sunday. We got in the AFC the Patriots at the Broncos. We got the Rams at the Seahawks in the NFC to decide who goes to the Super Bowl.
Super Bowl time.
And I will quickly give you some thoughts on this, and I'm going to move on back to college. As far as in the AFC, I'll give you my now redacted, revised picks. New England Patriots, dude, you freaking better.
Hell yeah, another Patriots touchdown.
If you don't win this game, I have not seen a road this paved in Boston since maybe the Celtics won a few years back. Boy, Beantown's got the luck of the Irish for sure, because the New England Patriots better beat the Broncos and go on to the Super Bowl. You had the easiest schedule in the NFL. You march into the playoffs where there's no Mahomes, there's no Burrow, and there's no Lamar. And now you get to play Denver, sans their starting quarterback, Bo Nix, who breaks his foot on the second to last play. And I don't give a damn what head coach Sean Payton says. Jarrett Stidham, the backup, has not thrown a regular season pass in 744 days. I'm going to repeat that. 744 days since Stidham has made a throw that had any impact in a game whatsoever. This is going to be a no-brainer. The easiest schedule in football continues for New England. You guys are wicked lucky or wicked smart. I don't know which one it is, but you better move on to the Super Bowl.
You better win.
On the other side, this is the one that's more interesting. Seahawks, Rams in Seattle. And I know I picked Seahawks, but this might be heart, this might be head. I'm going with the Rams now. Yeah, stay in L.A., baby. The L.A. Rams will upset the Seahawks and go to the Super Bowl. Part of this is vibes, and I just like that team. But also, I love coaches with big balls.
Big balls.
I've talked about this ad nauseum between Campbell of the Lions and McVay of the Rams. I like a coach who goes for it, who's aggressive, who has faith in his team, and has got a big old set down there. But it also makes football sense because it comes down, again, to the quarterback. The Sam Darnold reality check. I know the oblique strain. I know what they're saying, that he's just day-to-day. He didn't re-aggravate it in the last game, and it's on his non-throwing side. But he's also said he's sore, and I know the coaches said he shouldn't be significantly limited. But the fact is, that is coach speak, and that is a big deal.
But obliques are for freaks.
The oblique matters when you're rotating every time you throw the ball, even on the non-throwing side. If he absorbs any big hits from a Verse or a Landman or anyone else who can get in there and throwing under pressure, he's going to be thinking about it. And oh, by the way, Sam Darnold has never started a conference championship game before this weekend. The stage matters, the injury matters, and boy, does the injury really matter when you talk about health in Seattle. Also more bad news.
All the news about your football team ain't been good news.
lose.
Zach Charbonnet, torn ACL, out for the season. That guts the backfield that has been so important for the Seahawks this year. Charbonnet with his torn ACL was a huge red zone weapon. He really balanced out Kenneth Walker III, gave Seattle flexibility. Now you got more pressure on an injured Darnold. You got less margin for error. You got less play action fear. And not to mention the Rams have played them twice and given Sam Darnold hell when he was healthy. December 18th in Seattle, where they barely won, they picked Darnold twice, sacked him 4 times. And then when they won in LA, I was actually in the audience. I walked to that thing because your boys got it like that and saw that game. When they won in Los Angeles, they picked his ass 4 times. Dude, Darnold was throwing it all over the field. The Rams defense seems to have at least some understanding, with him being a rival and seeing him a lot, of how to play and really give him fits. Not to mention the pressure. He's uncomfortable. They did all of that without the playoff stakes, where he's never been in the conference championship game ever in his career. At the noise, at the injury, at the championship pressure, I trust Stafford, a.k.a. the possible MVP, over an inexperienced and hurt Sam Darnold. So to review, I will go with the Rams. I think experience versus the moment makes a big deal here. Stafford has played in hostile buildings. Just last week he did it in Chicago, in high leverage games, in seasons where one throw can define you. When the game tightens, it's 3rd and 8, that crowd is feral, and you got all the pressure in the world. I trust Stafford over Darnold. Full stop. So, because of that, because of the health, the matchups, the loss of their running back, everything else, coach aggression, give me the Rams for the upset to make it to the Super Bowl. That'll be fun. Plus, I just can't like the Rams. Give me a coach with a big old set, big old pair of balls, and McVay definitely has a big set of balls.
Big brass balls.
Moving on.
Which leads me to our next topic.
Before I destroy the myth of the Indiana Hoosiers and everything that they just accomplished, it is not their fault, and any champ in the future is going to deal with the fact of this reality. Cinderella's dead.
Honey, take a good picture. I'm dead.
Cinderella's dead, and I will discuss it in just a little bit. But let's start off with Indiana's moment and their no doubt number 1 pick, Fernando Mendoza. Shout out to them before we get into their dirty little secret in the rags to riches upbringing story here in the finale just yesterday. Finished the season 16-0, the first national title in school history. Beat the U in Miami 27-21, sealed by a late interception by Sharp. A perfect season. The banner is done. And boy, Fernando Mendoza is the consensus number 1 now. I don't want to hear anything or any of you idiots try to overthink this. Fernando Mendoza is clearly the number 1 pick overall on an Andrew Luck. If there's ever been a surefire, this kid seems guaranteed. I don't know how you could pick apart Fernando Mendoza at this point, other than he's a cornball.
So beautiful. I want to give all the glory to God. You're never supposed to be in this position, but by the glory of God, the great coaches, great teammates, everyone we have around us, we were able to pull this off. Whoever thought the Hoosiers would be here, but now the Hoosiers are flipping champs. Let's go.
And I'll give you that, dude. This kid is as corny as they absolutely get. But other than that, dude, his intangibles are through the roof. I think he's been through more adversity than your typical number 1 overall pick. Between his mom, you've seen the situation with her, and he's had to deal with that off the field, not to mention on the field, having to be an unheralded recruit, was not really wanted by a lot of schools, was able to beat Miami after they wouldn't even allow him to walk on. So he has dealt with adversity and toughness and shown that he can persevere through. And clutch, man. This dude is an absolute killer in the clutch. So, yes, he's corny, but he's also got intangibles, every skill set in the world. To me, he's like if Tim Tebow and Tom Brady had a 6'5", 225-pound baby. And, man, watching that final game there, boy, that's not just talent. That is quarterbacking. That is what I would want in a quarterback in the biggest drive of his life. 3rd and long, 4th down twice in a national title game. This kid went right through Miami's defense with Terminator-like efficiency. No panic, no mistakes, completed everything he needed to do. That amazing quarterback draw run at the end also showed that toughness diving into the end zone there. And I really thought Cignetti in Indiana almost blew it by not giving him the ball that last possession when it was 3rd down and they tried to run it. I'm like, dude, Mendoza's shown you he will complete every big down you need. Give him the ball, but the defense was able to get the pick and seal the deal. But again, he's number 1. He's the kind of quarterback you want, at least according to my philosophy, because whether it's guys like Brady, whether it's Montana, whether it's Mahomes, whether it's Peyton, the part that matters to me and should matter to most NFL franchises the most when you're drafting an NFL quarterback, What does he do when the game is on the line, and how does he execute? Because that is, in the end, what a big-time quarterback does. All the guys I just named, it'll be 3rd and long or 4th and short. Some big entire season is on the line. What will he do? Can he read the defense? Can you make an accurate throw? Not try to willy-nilly it and scramble around. Can he read the defense because he's got the IQ, the preparation, the poise, and make an accurate throw? That is all I want from a quarterback. I do not need all the other stuff that a lot of guys really salivate over here, Caleb Williams and Josh Allen. I don't need my quarterback to bomb at 70 yards in the combine. I don't need you to save the game by running 20 yards backwards and having to throw an off 1 foot Hail Mary bomb that lands in your tight end's hands. It's an amazing play, but I don't need you to have the turnovers that got you there in the first place. Do you get what I'm saying? I want Brady. I want Mahomes. I want the quarterback who makes that last play look easy. I don't need somebody who has maybe the overall gunslinger talent to pull out some highlight play, but had to have a couple turnovers to put himself in that situation. I want Terminator. I want efficient. I don't want anybody who messes around. Someone who calmly and coolly moves the offense. That is what Mendoza did, and that is what I think he will continue to do. Not to mention, he really fits all the regular stuff. There is nothing.
The reason I can't find anything is that there's nothing to find.
I don't know what, it's going to be so funny to see people in the Combine and the Underwear Olympics try to break this kid down and find a hole. There is no hole in this kid's game. Besides the intangibles, besides the clutch, he fits the other bills. This kid is 6'5", 225 pounds, sees the field, tough, can absorb contact, had 41 touchdowns with only 6 interceptions in the toughest schedule, arguably, of anybody in college football. His IQ jumps off the tape. The accuracy, the touch, he can layer throws at all 3 levels. I've mentioned the clutch gene, but the road wins, the title game poise, and he's able to run and move with that size, functional mobility. He's not a dual threat scramble, but you saw in that quarterback draw, he can do it when called upon, but he's also just a problem solver and is able to get out of pass rushers' way, cut sacks from 41 to 22 just year over year. Not to mention he won the Heisman, not to mention he's undefeated, not to mention he led Indiana to the title. That's not just a hype, that's a resume. I dare you to try to find something wrong with Mendoza, other than, again, he's corny. He's got that Tim Tebow, maybe Russell Wilson-like. Can that rub the locker room? I have no idea how you can pick this kid apart. And so there is no doubt in my head he's going to the Raiders. He should be the first overall pick unless they decide to trade it, which would be crazy. I have heard rumors of possibly them moving towards Lamar Jackson. But, man, you get a young quarterback who's as surefire as they get like Mendoza at the price you get young quarterbacks at, $55 million in cap space. That's it over the next 4 years. That's what Lamar or anyone else would cost for one season. Gives you a chance to build all around him. He gets to hang out with Brady. He gets to learn how to be even more clutch, poised, and smart and high IQ than he already is. Man, you can overthink this, I guess, but the Raiders, I would sit on my fat ass until the number 1 pick showed up. A second before that bell rings, go, hey, give me Mendoza. I didn't even do it. I didn't even go to the combine. I didn't do anything else.
No effort.
No, it's effortless.
Short of Mendoza being injured, hurt, or some god-awful thing happening, that is the number 1 consensus pick. There's no doubt in my mind, and I don't have any way I can pick apart what this kid has done. He is absolutely an amazing quarterback who does what I would want you to do when the time is the most important. I mean, and plus he saves you money. Speaking of money, got to get into this.
Money, money, money. Money, money, money.
Our secret.
Our dirty little secret.
Now that I'm done being nice and saying nice things about Indiana, and I want to re-mention I am not picking on Indiana, but we have to bring up and kill this narrative that I've been hearing about the Hoosiers and their Cinderella run. There is no Cinderella. Cinderella is dead. NCAA and NIL killed it.
Honey, take a good picture, I'm dead!
Now, rightfully so, but the Hoosiers are no different than anybody else and this underdog myth. And I know you people get touchy, and Hoosiers, it's your first title, and what you did was impressive. Shout out to you. But the idea that you're this plucky, broke, out of nowhere underdog story, this blue-collar long shot with only 3-star recruits. Knock it off. You're new money.
How will we spend all our money?
You're new money. That's all you are. We're not used to seeing that logo play the game this way, but they are exactly the same as everybody else. You are not blue-collar. You are blue blood. Here's the dirty little secret that Indiana and apparently the media and everybody else does not want to say out loud. They are a fully professional football program, just like every other big school you've ever seen. You see the Indiana logo, I know it's new, but just picture the other big dogs, the Oregon Ducks, Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, Miami Hurricanes. You're not used to seeing them there, but they belong there. They are backed by Mark Cuban, which enough people still don't know. The billionaire sports fan has been backing them to the tune of a ton of money. This is not an underdog. This is not some low-budget, mid-major nonsense. They spent $21 million in NIL just last season. That's top 10 nationally. $21 million. This isn't this, well, we developed these walk-ons and caught lightning in a bottle. This is NCAA free agency.
You have some mighty strong-looking workers here, sir. I'd be willing to offer you $40 for 2 of the white ones and $50 for the blacks.
They shopped aggressively. 14 of Indiana's 22 starters came through the transfer portal and were bought. 8 of their 11 offensive players, 6 of their 11 defensive players, they have an average age of 23 years old. 23 years old. There are 5 NFL teams that have an average age of 25. They are 23. This is a grown man roster that they bought just like all the other big guys. What are we talking about? What are we doing? And look, I'll say this. They did do it right, and I hope that the way that they did it will permeate throughout the rest of college football, because the fact is, while they did spend money, how they spent the money and who they spent it on is worth mentioning. They didn't chase hype. They chased older but high character guys willing to sacrifice, guys who are team first, who are going to be able to be a good role model and teammate in the locker room. Older, high-character players where the chemistry fit and the experience over just star talent, and you saw this throughout the entire season. Their discipline, their camaraderie. They were second and third in the entire country in least penalties and least yards on penalties. So you can see the discipline, the fewer mental mistakes, the composure in big moments. But they didn't play the game cheaper. They just played it smarter. I mean, let's be very clear. They played the game just like everybody else. And the 3-star part of the entire story is so disingenuous. It is just really like, it's kind of funny to me.
Man, we did the next to impossible.
I'm not trying to pick on you guys, but give me a break with this whole, oh man, can you believe it? They didn't have any 4 or 5-star recruits. They did all of this with just 3-star guys. Cool. These were older guys that were already proven, that were reevaluated, and were bought at market value thanks to Mark Cuban. The NFL mock draft currently says that the Indiana Hoosiers have 9 players this year that will be drafted, with potentially 5 in the first 3 rounds. That is more prospects this year than Georgia or Miami. Yes, they were 3 stars coming out of high school, but you waited 2 years, found out they were really good, and you spent the appropriate money, and you brought them over. And so even afterwards, I heard Cignetti go like, oh man, it's hard to think any of our guys will be drafted.
Are there 8 first-round draft choices on this team? Probably not.
Are you kidding me? Go look at any report. You guys apparently have more prospects, 5 in the first 3 rounds, than Georgia or Miami. What are we talking? This isn't rag to riches.
Yay, we overcame!
You waited for the stock to mature and then you bought it. Good for you. I'm not dissing you for it, but this 3-star thing. I'll give you a basketball analogy to kind of make it obvious and make it make sense with Indiana and this story of we did it with just 3-star recruits. We're this plucky, amazing, inspirational story here. Imagine another non-basketball school that was a good football school. Let's take like Nebraska. Started spending millions of dollars in the NIL and picked up 22-year-old Steph Curry from Davidson, 22-year-old Damian Lillard from Weber State, a Jimmy Butler out of Tyler JUCO, and a Jimmer Fredette out of BYU. All 4 of those guys were 3-star recruits. They go on to win every game in a row and then have the nerve to come on television and go like, can you believe it? We're doing it with just 3 stars.
Anything is possible!
We're doing it with just 3-star recruits. Well, I mean, yeah. Technically, Steph Curry, Lillard, you picked them up by their junior year, and you paid them to come there, and they're all amazing players. We know that now. So I guess, yeah, they were 3 stars in high school, but that's the best way I can put it. Imagine if Nebraska, who had never been good at basketball, decided to start spending a bunch of NIL money because they were backed by a billionaire and bought late Steph Curry, Damian Lillard, Jimmy Butler, Jimmer Fredette, all 3 stars, and we're like, man, can you believe it? How do we accomplish this? How do we do it? It's amazing. We must have some... It was elite talent acquisition. Even the coach was bought. I like Coach Cignetti. I like what he does. I like how he establishes the importance of everything that he brings to that locker room. But he didn't just fall into Bloomington. Dude, Cignetti has an 8-year, $93 million contract, about $11 million per season. That is top 5 nationally. That is more than Sarkisian. That is more than Riley. That is more than Dabo Swinney. That's not like some small... Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you got to... You spent top 10 in NIL. You spent top 5 on your coach. Backed by the sports-loving billionaire Mark Cuban, you're Oregon. You're a new Oregon, but you're Oregon. You're the same thing. They did a good job of keeping that a secret, by the way, until I finally saw him speak at the end of the finals game. Mark Cuban has been involved in this for a while and is spending a ton of money. They are backed by a billionaire. This is billionaire-supported football, just like Phil Knight in Oregon, and there's nothing wrong with that, but you got to stop pretending that it's something else. And it's not their fault. Again, Cinderella is dead. It is completely gone.
Honey, take a good picture, I'm dead!
The proof of this and the fact that college football has become a pro sport, all you have to do is look at the mid-majors 11 and 12s that made it to the tournament this year. Tulane and James Madison. If you needed any more proof that football in college is now a pro sport and you need $20 million at least to play it, along with $10 million for your coach, look at Tulane and James Madison, who had a combined NIL spending of somewhere between $8 to $10 million. And what was the result? They lost by a combined score of 92 to 44. They were not even close. Matter of fact, Indiana, I know, stole one from James Madison. They can't afford to keep their talent anymore. This is not about heart. This is not about plucky. This is not about upstart. This is about budget. This is a professional sport. And if you still doubt it, if you still want to get on my nerves about this, just look at what Carson Beck said right before the final game. Did anyone else catch this? Carson Beck, you know, the kid at Miami, the 23-year-old who's on his 6th season, who just got $4 million in NIL money to come play with the Miami Hurricanes. A reporter asked him if he went to class, and the dude actually laughed.
I said, I'm curious, did you have class yesterday? If so, what class?
No class. I graduated 2 years ago, so... Obviously, I've been working towards other degrees now that I've gotten to Miami, but these programs take a little longer than just a year to finish. So obviously, I'm not enrolling again next semester, so I will be done after this season. But
this is how bad and how open they are with it. The dude chuckled at the reporter for asking him, hey, did you have to go to class this week? He's like, class?
I don't go to school. Oh.
Lady, I'm a hired gun. What? I ain't a student. I graduated 2 years ago, man. I ain't out here. I live in the facility. These are direct quotes from Carson Beck. I graduated from school 2 years ago. I basically live in the facility. That is not a student athlete.
Student athletes. Oh, that is brilliant, sir.
As much as the NCAA is still trying to cling to that, is not a student athlete. That is an employed, hired gun. That is a professional quarterback. So, I'm just saying, Indiana deserves all the credit in the world. Don't get me wrong. They deserve all the credit. They just don't deserve mythology. They weren't underdogs. They weren't Rudy. They weren't poor. They weren't plucky. They're just new money. Now, they spent it wisely. They built professionally. They picked the right guys. They used character, and they won because of it, and that's fine. But don't sell me the Rudy Rudiger story when all it is the continual NCAA free agency, this wild, wild west that I don't know how we're going to get a grip on. But the fact is, I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're new to the program or not. You need $20 million at least in NIL. You need $10 million for your coach to even be able to put yourself into the competition. If you don't believe me, ask Tulane and ask James Madison and how their little $8 to $10 million combined did in this college football playoff. Great story, great quarterback, great coach. Not a shock, no different than Oregon or Ole Miss. You're just new. Moving on to the NBA.
Basketball, give me the ball because I'm gonna dunk it.
Lots of things to discuss here. NBA trade deadline. And like I said, I had a whole thing to go, and then this happened yesterday, and now I have to talk about.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
The Warriors' bad luck continuing with Jimmy Butler. This broke my heart, my soul, everything, man. This is a continual since 2019 of a lot of things not going the Warriors' way. Kevin Durant tearing his Achilles back in 19. Then you think of Klay tearing his ACL and Achilles back in 2019, 2020. Just last year, Steph with the hamstring after they had won Game 1 versus Minnesota. This is unfortunately part of the game and part of having an older team.
Getting too old for this.
This comes with having the Golden State Warriors, but even thinking of their 2022 championship, everybody needs a little luck. Everybody needs a little bit of grace on their side. When they won that last title, as a Warriors fan, we do have to be honest, Ja was hurt in that first series. I believe he was out since Game 3 with a hurt knee. Boston in the championship didn't have Williams III. We've gotten lucky too. It just didn't go our way this time because Jimmy Butler is done. And now what do the Warriors do? I don't know, man. But he's done for the season. Torn ACL midway through the third against Miami, his old team. Twisted his knee. MRI is already confirmed. It's an ACL tear. Recovery time is now 9 to 12 months. And God, this hurts. Not just emotionally, structurally. This wasn't just a rotation loss. This was the spine that held together the Warriors' recent run. And I will tell you this, I truly believe the Warriors had a real chance to make a push this year and were on a real run. I think they actually had better title hopes than most people thought in today's NBA, as much as it's up for grabs besides Oklahoma City. Just FYI, the Warriors were 25-19, but they had won 12 of their last 16. They were doing better than even Oklahoma City, who had been 10-6 in their last 16. And that was with one of their main players, Kuminga, being DNP'd because they hoped that they were going to be able to trade him. And losing Jimmy Butler.
Complete and utter devastation.
It's so devastating in 1,000 different ways. This dude had moved up his points per game to 21.3 in January, was shooting 53% from the field. But for the entire season was doing Jimmy Butler stuff. 20 points per game, 5.6 rebounds, 4.9 assists, had played in 38 of 44. And the dude was finally happy. It was so nice to see Jimmy, who has had some issues with some other teams, be so welcomed and so just happy to be there and joking and laughing, even as he tore his knee. He's so in a good mood in Golden State. He's been able to joke even through that situation, and it's just one of the roughest, toughest things that could have happened to a Warriors team that was starting to feel like maybe luck had finally turned back their direction, and now it just doesn't. $54 million this season, $56.8 million next season. The Robin to Steph's Batman is kind of irreplaceable. I'll try to give us some ideas of maybe some ways we can go, but we do have to really reiterate, dude, losing Jimmy Butler at that price is truly kind of irreplaceable. There's really no real good option because Jimmy was so important to everything they did besides just being expensive. And it wasn't just scoring. He was so good in this last run at killing bad stretches, limiting turnovers, playing smart physical defense, getting to the foul line, which was huge to be able to stop runs and stop the clock, slowing down the game when he got real stupid there. I used to call him the tourniquet because as early on I saw his ability to ISO and get to the foul line when Steph wasn't on the floor. He stopped the bleeding. Like any Warriors fan, any real one remembers for years, even when we were good, boy, you could see an 18-point lead disappear just like that. Now with Butler and this new wrinkle they had to the offense, he was able to slow the game down, get to the line, stop the bleeding, stop the runs. He was the tourniquet, and now that's gone. So what should they do? Don't have a lot of great options. I'll tell you first what they shouldn't do. I really don't think we should trade Jimmy Butler unless we're actually considering a team that is looking to tank. First of all, I don't think there's a lot of people that are even willing to take Jimmy Butler, but unless there's a team that's in a tanking mode that wants it, something like a Sacramento Kings, he's just too expensive, he's too old, he's too injured. I don't see any chance, zero really, of getting fair value. I don't think this should be a sell low moment. I know it's 9 to 12 months recovery, but he could come back by next season and still be a good player. I would ride this out for a healthy return because I don't think you get the value for for an older, injured, expensive Jimmy Butler, unless there's a tanking team that wants to take him on and move off some veterans. There is a few fingers crossed Hail Mary hopes here I'll throw your way. Some teams that think possibly could want to move on from their older veterans. Philadelphia, I would give like a 1% chance. I mean, as much as they've gotten tired of Embiid and Paul George, they're 23-18. The Eastern Conference is up for grabs. I really don't. I've heard people rumor this one already. I'm like, I don't put Philly in that conversation. Even though Embiid or Paul George would be able to work straight up and Jimmy Butler's 2-year deal would be quicker than their deals, I don't see it happening. I don't see Philly
not wanting to move to Philly.
It really even being a reason for you. Don't even really Google it. I don't think it's going to happen. Dallas, I'm going to re-talk about Dallas in a second, but let's talk about if they just want to make a Butler trade. Anthony Davis, again, on a 3-year deal. Jimmy's just 2-year deal expiring in 2027. Their money is equal to the dollar, so you could really make that trade straight up. And if you're Dallas looking to rebuild and move off the Davis disaster, and if you're the Warriors, I mean, you may not like hearing this, dude. We don't have a lot of options. This isn't a situation where, like, oh, we can make all sorts of great trades if we decided to trade an old, injured Jimmy Butler. Anthony Davis could solve a lot of problems if healthy. They said he's not supposed to have surgery on that hand. I know he's Mr. Glass.
They called me Mr. Glass.
I'm just saying that would be maybe one of the more likely positive scenarios. And there's one, only one that I really like that could be possible. Sacramento Kings continue to be on the Warriors' radar, are now 12-31. I know they want Jonathan Kuminga. How about we force them to take Butler then?
If you really love him.
If we can get them to want Jonathan Kuminga and also take Jimmy Butler, as they are very much in a rebuild, probably with a pick or two, I would like to see maybe Kuminga and Butler put together for DeMar DeRozan and Domantas Sabonis. That trade actually works out contractually. Kuminga, Butler for DeRozan and Sabonis, and DeRozan on an expiring contract could be a renegotiation or just a 1-year rental. But man, Sabonis would solve a lot of problems other than him and Draymond would have to hash out whatever stuff they got going on. But also replacing the type of scoring that Jimmy Butler is, the closest I can think of is DeRozan. Similar style, a lot of mid-range, smart, able to break you down, get to the foul line, great mid-range, able to work around the basket. DeRozan is the closest offensively you're going to find to a Jimmy Butler, and finally solving our rotating center position. Sabonis, who would be a godsend for the next few years, could really help them out. So if the Kings would like to make that move and they really want Kuminga, that's the only one involving Butler I would even consider or keep an eye on, would be could we get Kuminga Butler traded for DeRozan and Sabonis if the Kings want to go into full tank mode? That would be one to keep an eye on. Other than that, let's face reality here. You're not going to be able to replace Jimmy Butler, especially in one move, for Kuminga and Hield, which is what you would have to do. You're not going to be able to replace smart ISO scoring, defensive toughness, foul drawing, and lead stabilizing IQ in just one player, unless, again, the Kings give us the combination of DeRozan and Sabonis with just one guy. We're going to have to Moneyball it, man. Like they said, we're going to have to solve this in the aggregate. So where do some of these replacement starts if the Warriors still want to have a shot? I will quickly say Brandon Podziemski. Universe is a funny place, isn't it? Universe is a funny place. Maybe Mini Manu is to the rescue. Just last week I said, Brandon, you're an idiot for saying you'll think you'll be Steph Curry or hope you can one day, but you could be Manu Ginobili, which is not a bad thing, who saved the Spurs bacon, an Olympian, a Hall of Famer, more times than I can count. He has been scoring lately, and if we need to replace the scoring, he's the first one I think of.
Be careful what you wish for. You just might get it.
The universe, like I said, it'll answer your request, man. Put it out there and you shall find it. And he's been playing great lately. 16 points, 19 points, 24 points his last 3 games. He said he wanted to be an all-star. He said he wants to be a household name. He said he wants to be Olympian.
I am a starter and that I belong and that I can be a household name for the Warriors. And that's always my goal and what I look forward to.
No time like the present, kid, because I can't think of anybody else when Steph comes off the floor of who we can try to go to consistently to try to score points. You said you wanted all this. Now it's here. Let's see if you could do something about that. And the other part of this conversation now that we're starting to have of should we keep Kuminga,
Breaking news. After this recording, Jonathan Kuminga twisted his left ankle and hyperextended his left knee Thursday night in a 123-115 loss to the Dallas Mavericks. After initial testing on the ankle and knee, neither issue is believed to be serious. But before that, he scored 10 points in 9 minutes after scoring 20 points in 21 on Tuesday. Sources say he still thinks Steve Kerr is a stupid girly man and wants a trade. So this could his final game as a Warrior, and he did just enough to make another team want his Golden State days terminated. Now, back to the news chopper.
I don't think so, man. As much as I like Jonathan Kuminga, and I think actually I understand the want saying, well, he could be useful. That relationship with him and Kerr is done, man. Those two are just way too friction. I get that you may want to try to make it work now, but I still think his value is more there for a team that's rebuilding. I still say put together the package of Kuminga and Buddy Hield, that $32 million. Do not go big. Do not go for broke. Do not add Moses Moody or Al Horford. Boy, Horford and Moody have been godsends lately. I would rather see them continue to go down the path I projected last week. Kuminga, Hield, around $30-ish million. What can we get back for it? No Moody, no Horford. So to solve this dilemma, I have a trade that I think solves all of our problems, including needing another big, which I do think would be a big part if we do decide to move on from Kuminga. Could use a big man because ever since they've added posts to the starting lineup, been playing Al Horford heavy minutes. You're seeing TJD finally get back in there. Boy, things open up, don't they? Small ball has got to go, and we finally have some pieces that are able to help out with that. One more would be phenomenal because Horford doesn't play back-to-backs, and one injury could screw all this up. But, man, we've had better rebounding, better rim protection, better pace control. The league has changed. You need bigs. I would like to see a big comeback in this Kuminga trade.
We mustn't play the tall ones, no. Mule ruins it.
So, the trade that makes sense is the same one that I presented to you last week. Dallas Mavericks, not for Anthony Davis, but for Daniel Gafford and Klay Thompson. $14 million for Daniel Gafford, $16 million for Klay Thompson the next 2 seasons for Kuminga, Buddy Hield, and minor salary matching. Bring home Klay Thompson. Bring along Daniel Gafford for Kuminga and Buddy Hield. I really think is our best option besides having to trade Jimmy Lowe or make some big holy crap move here. Again, Daniel Gafford, as I mentioned before, works for so many reasons. 8 points, 6.5 rebounds in just 20 minutes per game, but 1.3 blocks, 27 years old, 6'10", 265 pounds, and is a true athletic lob threat, a true rim presence. He could really change the Warriors' interior and bringing Klay home. I am not against the idea of if we need scoring, bringing Klay Thompson home. I think it actually makes a lot of sense because don't just need scoring. He has been playing better lately, and he already knows the system. Don't forget, Klay Thompson, injured or not, is a career 19-point per game, 41% three-point shooter, and maybe now is a little more grateful of his situation and more willing to play the sixth man and not be such a prima donna about it. Now they had to go spend some time in Dallas. Been on a heater lately. Have y'all seen the last couple games of Klay Thompson? 26 points, January 15th, 23 points, January 17th, 10 of 18 on threes. In his last 2, Klay Thompson has been on fire. He's still a top 4 all-time in made threes, 17,000 career points, and most importantly, he's already spent time here. If you try to make another midseason trade, think about even Jimmy. Last season, they needed time. They needed an offseason because Jimmy didn't know how our offense works. Klay spent 13 years here. It will be no mystery how to go back in and fit in this offense. Klay knows everything they need to know about this offense. He's the only one that truly fits like a glove that can score and adds a center. I know some other names that have come up. Michael Porter Jr.
Oh, too expensive.
My only problem with the Michael Porter Jr. trade, I will throw this in quickly. I don't think adding him is enough to win the title considering what you would have to give back. You'd have to give back Kuminga, Moody, Hield, and they're asking for 2 first-round picks. That mortgages the future for a guy that I don't think is enough on his own. Too expensive. I still, as much as I love Michael Porter Jr., too expensive, too many picks. I just don't think it's a great idea. You don't need to make a blockbuster trade. You don't need to get rid of Jimmy Butler. And the good news is if you keep Klay Thompson and bring him on along with Daniel Gafford and bring back Klay Thompson and bring back Daniel Gafford, the good news there is all 4 contracts between Klay, Steph, Dre, and Jimmy would end in 2027. So besides adding scoring, besides adding a guy who knows the system, besides adding a center for a kid that we're not playing, and maybe one of the more expendable contracts in Buddy Hield, you would bring back a situation where all four of the main guys, Steph, Klay, Dre, and Jimmy, would come back hopefully in 2027 for one last run, and then you're free. Then you're going to have a combined $164 million free that next season to see what Steph does, to see if you want to keep the roster together. It's the only one that really fits a lot of the holes that are close enough for me to get this done. That's the one I will continue to propose. Keep an eye on Klay Thompson, Daniel Gafford, not Anthony Davis, not Michael Porter Jr., not trading Butler, not some big blow-up trade. This is the only one that I think is plausible, that could make sense and could work. I think Klay could come back home and restart the Splash Brothers and bring in a real center. Maybe we got a shot. Last thing.
I have one more thing to say.
Speaking of NBA trade deadline, you had the trade, you've had some things happen, but there is still the one big name to me that is out there that everyone should still keep an eye on. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Trade deadline ends February 5th, and 31-year-old Giannis, all 6'11", 240 pounds of him, averaging 29 points, 10 rebounds, 5.5 assists this year, and 40% from threes. The first time we've ever seen him shoot 40% from threes. Don't forget, one of the only three guys not named Michael Jordan or Hakeem Olajuwon to win an MVP, a Finals MVP, and a Defensive Player of the Year, all in the same season, in my opinion, is truly on trade watch, and he should go to the San Antonio Spurs. I'm going to just continue to double down on how much more sense this makes, and I want to talk about it. And man, Milwaukee Bucks, look, it is time to let him go.
Let it go, let it go.
Let Giannis go. Like Rose with Jack, let him go. Hold on to that one piece of jewelry y'all had together to remember him by. But it is time to move on from Giannis, and it is time for Giannis to go somewhere where he's got a shot to actually win. No more retooling. No more we still believe. And yes, some of this is partly selfish because I know if Giannis falls, then the Miles Turner domino falls, and maybe Golden State can pick him up. But I really am looking at this objectively. It is truly time. The signs are there. Milwaukee, just let the poor dude go, man.
You have to let me go.
I don't care what he says. I don't care what you say. Dude, you're 18 and 24. You're not even in the play-in. You just got booed in your own house. Giannis had to boo his own fans back because you are playing so bad. You've lost 4 of 6. You have a losing record, both at home and away. You're not even in the play-in. You're getting booed in your own house. The fans have had enough. You tried your best. I do not blame Milwaukee. I think they got a lot of bad luck. They went all in. They tried Drew Holiday. I thought Dame was an amazing swing and an amazing get. Towards Achilles, man, it just didn't work out. That was the final swing, though. You pulled every lever. You have nothing left. You got your ring. Respect is due, but you nuked the future, man. You do not own your own pick until 2031. It is time to do something about that. Milwaukee also doesn't owe Giannis anything. The only thing Milwaukee owes themselves is getting their picks back. I'm thinking like draft day. I want my picks back.
No, I want my picks back, all of them.
You don't have to send Giannis to New York. You don't have to send him to any destination you want. You tried to do everything you could to get Giannis home and get him a good team. Just didn't work out, man. You need to restock the cupboard with as many picks as humanly possible. Not one more try on some reclamation project. You need picks. You need youth. You need flexibility. You need the Spurs.
We're coming for you, San Antonio.
And it's funny, Giannis just had a quote. I kind of wonder about this. That kind of really kept the alarm bells going on for me. January 15th, they just played Victor, and Giannis afterwards was quoted as saying directly, he is going to be a final nightmare for the league. I hope I'm retired when he reaches his peak. He is going to be the final nightmare for the league. I hope I'm retired by the time he reaches his peak. I actually got a better idea, Giannis. How about you join him and turn that nightmare into an apocalypse? Because that's what that would be. Giannis and Wemby in their prime is the apocalypse. I'll come back to that, but let me get into more detail of the ones that you've heard about that are absolute nonsense. I do think this is worth mentioning before I break down more of the Spurs trade here. Let's kill off all the fan fiction you've heard about possible Giannis destinations, rumors and mocks that are absolutely not happening, even though they're fun and even though they're big names.
It's never going to happen.
First of all, Los Angeles Lakers, you got to be kidding me. You have to be joking. First of all, you can win now. You really don't need to make a big blow-up deal for Giannis, but you don't have the assets. You don't need the chaos. The only asset that you do have is Austin Reeves, and Pelinka loves Austin Reeves. He's not trading him for anything, but you also don't have enough picks. You're not even worth of having the conversation. Lakers are out. Just let it go. Warriors, same thing. Especially now with Butler hurt, they're not going to take an injured Jimmy Butler. They're not taking Draymond frickin' Green. You don't have enough picks. You also are not in the conversation. Let it go. New York Knicks, you would have been in the conversation. Problem is, I hope you like Mikal Bridges. Why did you trade 5 first-round picks? I'll never understand that trade, but now your cupboard's empty. The one thing that they would need, a lot of picks, you really don't have anymore. Best deal I've seen is like Karl Anthony Towns, either an OG Anunoby or a Hart, and 1 first round and some swaps. Not getting it done. Miami Heat has been rumored in this, and look, same problem. You only have 2 tradable first, and they're not till 2030 or 2032. Other teams will be able to outbid you if they're able to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. You need to focus on Ja Morant. That's a reclamation project. You are a perfect place. Everyone says come to Miami. They get their attitude right. Go try to get Ja. You're not going to be able to get Giannis. Again, mocks I've seen, Harrow, Wiggins, Ware, and 2 first-round picks. Better than the ones I mentioned before, but still not enough.
Zsa Ding Dong?
Honorable mention. This one should do it, and they're not going to, and I'll just let it go. But, man, Oklahoma City Thunder, you should have done it. You should be on the phone every day seeing if they'll break for you. I still say this should be and needed to be the move. Of course, you're not going to, but, man, you have everything Milwaukee needs. I would have done this in a New York minute without even thinking about it. Real quick, why I said this, and I'll continue to say it. Oklahoma City, I get it. 7-3 in your last 10. 13 plus 4 net rating. You continue to dominate. You're first in the entire league. You're back on track, back to your winning ways. You have all the picks. You have all the future. I understand that. But you also have 5 first-round picks that aren't yours in the next 2 seasons. Again, repeating, 5 first-round picks that aren't theirs, along with the picks that they already have. That is, dude, what are you going to do with all these picks? Like, I get that it's fun to continue to hoard everything like Scrooge and think about the future. But let's say, best-case scenario, just to prove my point, what would you do? Let's say you had 7 first-round picks in the next 2 years and they all hit. What are you going to pay everybody?
A goose for everyone!
You going to have, what, 11 max contracts? In the perfect world where you nailed every first-round pick, I mean, I guess you could trade them eventually, but what are you going to – you can't give them all max contracts. You could right now, in a mock trade that I think Milwaukee would have to take very, very seriously, say, dude, we'll match contracts, we'll give you Hartenstein and Dort, but we'll give you like 4 or 5 first-round picks, maybe some seconds thrown in for fun. Suddenly, Milwaukee has a brand-new cupboard of a future and picks and a couple decent young players to go with it, but mainly so many picks, and you would still have your first and seconds because all of these weren't yours to begin with. You still keep SGA, you still keep Chet Holmgren, you still keep Williams, and you add Giannis. Dude, that would be...
He'll destroy everything and everyone.
What would anyone do? What would anyone do with a healthy SGA, Williams, Chet, and Giannis? You're done.
Honey, take a good picture. I'm dead.
Bye-bye. You're done. There would be nothing you could absolutely do about that. I still think they should do it. I know they won't do it. Thunder, you should listen to me. Somebody should get to somebody and make sense of it. Even if your picks all worked out. You have 97 picks. That's great. You going to pay them all? No. But San Antonio Spurs, back to the most important one. This is the one that could happen, that should happen, and needs to happen. San Antonio Spurs fans, listen to me. I know you guys don't usually do these things. I know you have, we're building for the future. You are just like Oklahoma City, where you have 4 extra first-round picks and 11 extra second-round picks over the next 5 years. If I'm the Bucks and I'm letting Giannis go, I want 2 things. I want 1 young talented player, and I want a hell of a lot of picks. You can provide both, and you can turn this rebuild into a contender right now. San Antonio Spurs are 30-13, second in the West, and I know they look great, but they still have some inconsistencies. They still have some problems. They're still very young, still do a lot of turnovers. Shooting's inconsistent. A lot of defense has been able to really focus on Wembanyama. This would solve all your problems. And here is the most uncomfortable truth that they need to come to a realization if you're a San Antonio Spurs fan. Wemby's window is not infinite, and I would argue it is way shorter than you probably realize or you can even imagine. Tall guys like him are not guards. They do not last. You better go make his window work right now. Not in the future, right now. I'll give you all the history you need on this, and this is the one fact. If you need to listen to anything, listen to this one, look at me, and pay attention.
Hey, listen.
Look at the other guys just like Wembanyama that were tall, that were very talented, but were that extra level of tall, these big men, they all had such short careers. Bill Walton, Yao Ming, Ralph Sampson, Greg Oden, and Brad Daugherty. Wemby's another level of that, but it's the same idea of like, man, these guys are so tall yet so athletic with guard-like skills. They all retired at the average age of 29.8 years old. Wemby's already 22. Hear me one more time. Walton, Yao, Sampson, Oden, Daugherty, the guys that we can compare closest, other big guys who were very athletic, all retired on average before the age of 30. Wemby's already 22. This is not Steph Curry. This is not LeBron James. Do not trust you have this 10, 15-year window. I would say 5 to maybe 8 to 9 tops. If you look at historically what happens to big, lanky, athletic guys like him, those little bones break, injuries happen, it just comes along with it. You should do something now. You should make an impact today. And also between Fox, Castle, and Harper, I would argue you have too many guards. Now, I know some of y'all might think I'm crazy. I think you got one too many point guards in the henhouse. And I love De'Aaron Fox, and I think you should keep him, even though you could wait the last 2 days of the trade deadline and trade him because he has a $37 million contract to make things match better. I would keep De'Aaron Fox and try to get the young talent, one of them, either Harper or Castle, along with a abundance of picks, and get this done. And I have like a mock that I think works out great. Castle, Vassell, and Barnes with, say, like maybe 3 firsts and a couple seconds. I think that's enough to really make Milwaukee think about it. And if you got that done, you solve all of your problems because I think you still have one too many ball handlers. They're also young. You need to win now. De'Aaron Fox is not just great, he is clutch. Can you imagine if you had a fast break where it's De'Aaron Fox and you had on the right side Wemby and on the left side Giannis coming at you? If I'm a defender, I wouldn't know what to do. I would just pretend to sprain an ankle. I would honestly fake an injury. Can you imagine being a defender and you see a break coming at you and you got prime Fox, Wemby, and Giannis screaming down the lane at you? There's nothing you can do. Fake an injury, sprain an ankle, do something else because that is indestructible and that is unstoppable. Giannis and Wemby by themselves right now would combine on average for 53 points, 21 rebounds, 3.5 blocks, and 8.4 assists, and combined only cost you $67 million. A lot of players by themselves right now cost you, the stars do, $60 million. Can you imagine if you could pay someone 67, just a little bit more than that, and get 53 points, 21 rebounds on average a night, along with 3.5 blocks and 8 assists? I mean, you're not hearing me. This is Steph and Kevin Durant being put together. This is a danger zone of bigs and athleticism, and you would be able to run like weird-ass pick and rolls. They can both pick, they can both roll, they can both dribble, they can both pass. I don't know what you would do defensively other than quit. I don't know how you're going to get a shot up in the paint. This is the one that makes the most sense, and I still think it needs to get done. Do not think you have, we're second in the West, we're doing pretty good. I don't think you're good enough to beat OKC. You had Giannis, and you only have to get rid of one of your young guys and a bunch of picks, which I think is what Milwaukee wants. You should do it. I really don't see how you don't do it. Atlanta, we know, is gone. I was going to bring up Atlanta last week, but they made the trade, so now they're out of the mix there. I think OKC, of course, has the assets, but they're out of the mix. The Lakers, the Knicks, the Warriors, the Heat, get out of here. You're not even supposed to be in the conversation as much as the media wants to talk. It's all nonsense. Milwaukee's only job is to get Giannis out of there, restock your cupboard with youth and picks, and that should be your focus before the trade deadline. You are not going anywhere. You are not winning. You also owe him a chance to get a winner, and you owe yourself restocking your cupboard. The one team, and it would benefit everybody, is the San Antonio Spurs, and you put the alien with the Greek freak and just put the entire NBA on notice, because that would be something I don't know how anyone could handle on either side of the ball. It would be a certifiable nightmare. If Giannis thinks that Wemby is the final nightmare, combining them both together in their prime is the goddamn apocalypse. I know I'm right. I'm right to the point of boredom on this. It might not happen, but I know I'm right, and I'll have to sit in it, and we'll see what happens. Got to go. You guys enjoy your week. We'll see what happens. We'll come back next time. We'll talk about it more. Do not forget to like and subscribe. I love you. Bye.
Tricky Guy Sports.